Ever tried your chicken or lettuce? Ever tried to track your chicken or lettuce? Blockchain helps you in this quintessential task of your life. IBM has developed a blockchain technology which creates a permanent digitized record of each transaction as products move through the supply chain. This technology is currently used by fish farming companies, but the day is not far when it will be used in all the types of farming activities. Hello, everyone. I am Deepika Shrivastava, your host for today. A very warm welcome as we enter the second day of this fun filled carnival, Geek Gala, organized by the Geeks for Geeks PIT Bhopal student chapter. Blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. A blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transactions that is duplicated and distributed across the entire network of computer systems on the blockchain. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Abhishek Bhattacharya. Abhishek is a co founder and head of blockchain tech at Brufinance, India's only blockchain native fintech platform, and a UNDP Inspiro Fellow. He is a three times entrepreneur and an author. At Brew, he is bringing blockchain to farmers to save their income, covering 1,400 warehouses and 18,000 plus farmers and US $300 million in committed TVL, and now connecting them to global DeFi lenders, supported by United Nations Development Program, IIM Ahmedabad, and Mass Challenge USA. He's also a blockchain educator and has taught 5,000 plus faculty, PhDs, and students belonging to India and 6 plus countries since 2020. With that, the floor is yours, sir. Request to the audience kindly place their questions in the chat box. They will be answered at the end of the session. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Deepika, and thank you, everyone. Good morning, or if you're joining from somewhere else, good afternoon, good evening. So, great. Thank you so much, Deepika, for the warm introduction. Thank you so much, VIT Bhopal, as well as Geek for Geeks, for inviting me to this. We do not have a lot of time, and blockchain is huge, immense, right? It's deep, it's very technical sometimes, and it's humongous. So we don't intend to cover a lot in these 45 minutes, but it is sufficient to get you started in this, right? So to get you started would mean that you would be able to, from going forward, you would be able to take further advanced courses. And in addition to that, you would be able to understand what others in blockchain are speaking about, or the shows that you watch, even popular channels such as CNBC TV 18. If you just tune in on a fine afternoon, somewhere you would see that you're seeing a show on NFTs, or a show sponsored by WazirX on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. 2-3 years back, this was not possible, right? So we will cover as much as possible today, at least give you a hint of what is going to be the road ahead for you. And I hope that these 45 minutes are come out to be really valuable going forward. Sharing my screen quickly. I hope it is visible now. Okay. All right. Yeah. I hope it is visible. Deepika, can you just quickly confirm if it's good to go? I think it's good to go. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. All right. So this is what we are doing today, Blockchain 101, right? All about blockchain technology. We'll go through the agenda very soon, and it is going to cover the basics, very basics, nothing very technical, not mining and all of those stuff. But yeah, an introduction to those. One very important point here in today's entire 45 minutes is that we will be taking a look as well, which is the second point on the agenda, is something hands-on, so that you start interacting with blockchains, sooner than later. That's very important. You don't learn anything without actually getting your hands dirty. That's something that we're going to try and get started today, and then we see what the career pathways can be. She has given a very good introduction. I'm all about blockchains in the last 5-6 years. I have co-founded a startup called Brufinance, which is one of India's largest blockchain lending platforms at this moment, working with banks, governments, global lenders, and so on. I'm really reachable on Twitter, which is just twitter.com/abhib3012. Maybe take a screenshot. So yeah, maybe even beyond this lecture and beyond, maybe 2 years down the line from now, I hope I will still be in blockchain, and you would be able to reach out to me if you have any queries. Please feel free to reach out. The credentials are on the screen. Most important, agenda. So yeah, this is what I was talking about. We have this the second part that we do. Let me quickly get my pen working. Um, just 1 second. Yeah, okay. So this is something we have. Um, All right. So we have a quick blockchain essentials, quick takeaway of what to expect, right? What to expect going forward in terms of career pathways. What is that? What is it that you can even do, right, in blockchain? And what are the kind of, even if you're not a developer, what is it that you can essentially come up with and as a career option? LinkedIn voted blockchain as one of the top, is actually as the top ranked skill in 2020, and anything such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence, they were ranked below that. So yeah, and then we'll see that what next. I'll give you a list of items that you can follow going forward right from tonight maybe, and you will soon become a blockchain engineer or any of the other career pathways that you want to try out for yourself. All right. So let's quickly get to know you a bit. Maybe if you can just put in the quick chat. We won't take all these questions because it takes a lot of time, but yeah, trying to get it as soon as possible. How many of you have actually checked the public explorer before? um, Let me quickly see the chat. The chat is open, so if you guys can just put in that, how many of you have actually tried out any kind of blockchain explorer before, in about 10 seconds. Don't spend a lot of time. uh, and also, if you'll be seeing this recording later on, then I believe that this is a question you can pause and answer, and then you'll see that what importance does such things bring in, right? Moji, do people have access to the chat, by the way, or else we can skip this altogether? Okay, all right. But okay, guys, anyone who's viewing, anyone who's there at this moment, maybe live, possibly, put in this. How many of you have actually checked the public explorer before? We'll give you 10 seconds. Or we can just skip for now because many of you might be watching this as a recording. So but yeah, these questions give you an understanding, even if you're not able to answer these questions right now. Ideally, what these questions should give you an idea is that these are the things that you eventually want to know, in case you want to bring in blockchain to your life, your career, right? These are the things that would come in very handy, if this is what you want to do. You want to use a wallet, you want to, maybe if not something like technical, like setting up your own private blockchain network, or maybe building a full-fledged dapps from day one, but at least do this on your second month maybe, right? That's a good idea of learning blockchain. Second month is sufficient enough to start building good full-fledged dapps. Or NFTs, maybe this is something going up as a good hype. So NFTs, strive to know more about NFTs. There are a variety of NFTs, not just art and music and stuff. You can take a look at that, and NFTs have come out as very valuable tools of representation of assets, and this is something you can start having in your wallets. This will bring you closer to the blockchain technology and interacting with the DeFi products. This is, guys, bankless finance, right? Since childhood, all you've seen is how you can manage your finances with the help of a bank. This is the first time that you'll be able to see what bankless finance means essentially. So this is something that you should not skip at all. Quickly going through the blockchain essentials. What is blockchain and what comes, as underlying to blockchain? It's decentralization. This concept of decentralization is core to blockchain technology. And technically speaking, decentralization came into picture and became popular with blockchain and with Bitcoin especially. And then people started understanding that, okay, why should we even strive for decentralization? So these are the few key areas. The first and the foremost point, which you must always keep in mind, is that this is for people who are not willing to have complete control, not willing to give your complete control to a centralized entity, right? Not one single entity having complete control of your data. So you cannot trust a single entity which can any day go rogue. It is just a single entity. It can do scams, frauds, and these things happen, right? Uh, you have seen in government and other organizations that if such kind of frauds happen, it takes a decade to get unearthed. On the other hand, if in a blockchain environment or in a decentralized environment something gets messed up, it takes about a few seconds for other nodes and other people and other companies to know that, hey, someone has messed up with the entire network, right? So these are the key areas, always keep in mind. But is an answer to all of this distributed ledger technology? Is it blockchain that we are talking about, and how is it so? This is something we'll quickly answer in about a slide. But before that, we want to take a look at what it means. Like, what are the few myths that, okay, what are the few myths? Okay, yeah. So the myths that you may have in blockchain technology. I don't know. There is some problem with screen sharing, but okay, I hope it is visible now. So, what are the few myths that people have in blockchain technology? And I have taken many of these lectures, right? And these few myths, I have a collection of around 6, 7 myths, which I have not taken from the internet, because I was given those by the students and the attendees themselves, because they have always these questions that crypto and blockchain are same, and then, can I do anything with blockchain? Is blockchain free? Can DeFi do everything? Is So these kinds of questions actually tell you a lot about the myths that people propagate in this particular technology. So the first myth, we can take a look. Blockchain is not equal to cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is an implementation of blockchain. It's not the blockchain technology itself. For example, I have been running a platform since the last 3 years, which became India's one of the largest blockchain platforms with over $500 million worth of assets. But we did not use one single cryptocurrency in this entire process and during all those 3 years. This gives you a very good example that blockchain is not equal to cryptocurrency. But now, because we are going into decentralized finance with the brand Brufinance, we will be using cryptocurrency, our own token, from day one, right? So this is how blockchain technology can act as, as an underlying technology to multiple use cases, one of which might be using cryptocurrencies. The second myth is that blockchain can become everything. Guys, blockchain is not your everyday database like SQL and NoSQL and others. Making Using blockchain across any product that you want, even if that does not benefit that particular product in certain characteristics, blockchain can become pricey, and then it would give you a lot of overheads which a normal database would not, and that is not something you want to use blockchain for. You have to understand that why is it that blockchain is used? What is the utilization of blockchain? Blockchain has certain characteristics. For example, immutability, transparency, anonymity. So all of these things that blockchain has, if you're not able to map your issues and problems that are being one is to one solved by one of those characteristics, maybe blockchain is not the right tool for you. Please do not use blockchain technology just because it is in the hype. In the last 3, 4 years, from the days of ICOs back in 2016, 17, 18, I have seen many projects, right, who have even been in touch for advisory and or as projects to be built and so on. Many people, many founders, many projects. I can tell you that a huge chunk of them are just fitting blockchain as a force fit and not because one of the characteristics solves one of their problems. Right? If you do not match that, then your blockchain would not really help you. Rather, it will create a mess for you. It will create a problem for you. So please keep these two things in mind at all times. Now we answer the question that why blockchain, the one that we asked before, that is the answer to all of this blockchain, and why blockchain is it that has appeared as one of the saviors for the decentralized world. Firstly, blockchain has no central point of failure. Essentially, you do not depend on a central point of failure like a database system or even an organization which can tomorrow go out of business and then your entire data would be lost. Blockchain, how blockchain works is essentially, yeah. So how blockchain works is basically you have multiple nodes like this, maybe in tens or in thousands or in tens of thousands. Every node is connected to each other in a mesh kind of a network, and then the same data, the same transaction is propagated. These are transactions, TX transactions are propagated across all of these nodes, and every node has a ledger of its own. These boxes are ledgers. I'm representing the ledgers by these boxes. So every node has its own ledger. They do not share ledgers. This is the blockchain. They all have their ledgers, and after every transaction this propagation is done. So technically, after every transaction, the backup is being updated across all the nodes, not n minus one, not n by 50, nothing like that. It's exactly the n number of nodes that are there in the blockchain network. Everyone will be having a copy. You do not need all those copies such as RAID 0, RAID 1, and so on, which you may have already learned as well. You do not need those copies because these are backup copies, live, active backup copies. And that is why, until and unless you take down the very last, say for example you've taken down all these nodes, still the blockchain network would be alive because this one particular node is still alive, and that is sufficient to keep the blockchain network alive. Maybe mining would not happen depending on the kind of consensus mechanisms that is used, but the liveness of the network will not go in question. It will be active, it will be live, you will not lose data. So that is why no central point of failure. On the other hand, decentralization gives you an answer to that. Trust comes for business. You start putting trust in smart contracts and not in people, not in organizations, in pieces of code. And it's immutable. Blockchain's keyword is that any data that you put on blockchain is immutable. Any scams or scandals are unearthed within moments. You do not go a decade without getting to know about such scams that happen. That's why. So these three as a whole, you can say as the answer to why is the solution as comes in the form of blockchain technology. All right. So quickly, types of blockchain. Um, yeah, types of blockchain. So just one second. There are three kinds of blockchain basically. Majorly, you'll find more, which is maybe a combination of a few. Essentially, public. Public has come in the shape of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Binance, and all of those. All the blockchains which you can interact with. Bitcoin, you not only do a transaction, but you can go online into the Bitcoin Explorer, which is going to we are going to visit today for Ethereum. So, like Ethereum or Bitcoin, you can visit the Explorer and you'll be able to see all the transactions that are happening right this moment, and you can go back as early as the very first transaction that may have been done. Like in the case of Bitcoin, it was Satoshi Nakamoto who did the first transaction in 2009, or in 2015 when Vitalik and Ethereum Foundation did their first transaction. So anything from there till the last very this current moment, you can see all the transactions that are happening. So that is one thing that you always get as a benefit. Okay, that you always get as a benefit from by using a public form of a blockchain. All right. So public blockchains, they have zero middleman, anonymous. You get to see all the transactions, but the transactions are completely public in nature and also anonymous in nature. You get to see the transactions, but your transactions are behind or use an address which is very obscure looking. It is a 40, 44, 60 character long addresses at times, and it is not possible for someone to remember which address belongs to whom until and unless you tell the public that, hey, this is my name and this is my address. Then anyone can track your records. Otherwise, it is, even though it is public, it remains completely anonymous. It is then the next blockchain is private blockchains. There are other pointers given on the screen which you can take a look. I'm not covering in the interest of time, but these are very important pointers to get to know blockchains, the variety of blockchains that are there. All right. So private blockchains, very near to centralization. It's less secure. It's just like having a database, but in the shape of a blockchain. So you get the benefits of blockchain, but again, people may not trust you because you're still controlling the blockchain. And then comes a good combination, which is consortium blockchains, which is very, very popular. Public is much more popular because anyone can join public blockchains. But in the industry, consortium blockchains or permission blockchains are much more popular. Our own blockchain has been running as a permission blockchain amongst banks and government entities. So this is a use case, right? That banks or such entities will not want to share their data with the entire world. But yeah, they still want to use blockchain now, maybe not 5 years, 3 years back, but now they want to use blockchain. So they arrive at a middle ground that, okay, let us use blockchain technology, but let's do it on a permission network so that only specific people who I know are in the network can see that. Right. So that's what permission and consortium blockchains are. And there's a high chance that either you'd be working, if you going forward, get into blockchain as a domain, you would be either working on a public blockchain like Ethereum, Polygon, Bitcoin, etc., or you would be working in an organization that makes products and services for other companies who use blockchain, or they onboard supply chain companies or or fintech companies, and they may not want to share their data with the public, so they would be using something like a permissioned or a consortium blockchain. Now, we just discussed some time back that it is public but anonymous, right? And additionally, if it is public, how public? This is what I wanted to do as a quick hands on today, right? In the time that we have. How public is the critical question, where we want to know that, okay, is this something that, just like a Paytm maybe? And if you make Paytm transactions public, everyone would know that, okay, this number is Abhishek's and he has done $1,000 INR worth of transactions. Or is it someone else's, and what kind of transactions they've done to whom and all? Or is it that, there is some restrictions? That is what we take a look at in the next segment itself. We get a quick taste of blockchain. We do it hands-on. If you're following along today, you can visit this link which is there on the screen, etherscan.io. Just write on Google Etherscan. The first thing that comes will be etherscan.io. Etherscan, as the name suggests, it's an explorer for scanning the blockchain called Ethereum, which is a public blockchain, and that's why it's a public explorer. We also have an explorer, but because our explorer is permission, which also implies that because our blockchain is permission, this also implies that our explorer would be permission, and you would need a login to get into the explorer. On the other hand, etherscan, you do not need something like that. So we are going to check right now that how public is it, and what can we do with something like this, and how to make sure that we understand going forward. We understand that how you can know more and more about blockchain. You can just sit idle, go back, sit idle, just take a look at what I'm going to show you today, and later on also you can just do it in that fashion. And later on what you'll see is that you get to learn a lot because you are seeing live transactions. Tell me one technology, right? Tell me one technology where you would be able to see this kind of an orientation, this kind of public data out in the open. So much to learn. We'll just see it now. I'll just share the screen again so that the entirety of the screen is visible. um, okay, second. All right. Okay, great. So I've shared the screen, and now I'll go to the other one so that I don't create a problem. All right. So I'm going to visit etherscan.io. I hope the screen is visible now. And simple as that, etherscan.io. It opens in a jiffy, and you would see that everything you can see, starting from the price at this moment of Ethereum token, which some of you might be aware of because people first enter cryptocurrency and they're trading, and then they get to know about blockchain technology, which is the underlying form of tech. It is a very common cause. I've seen that happen across all the 5,000-6,000 or more than that by now, people that I've taught. So I hope that this is something you'll be recognizing first. Then if you come down, you can see all other details as well, but we'll come to that later. If you come down, the most important part is the latest transactions and the latest blocks. Now, in a very quick walkthrough, even before we go through this etherscan, in a very quick take here, that what does transactions and blocks mean? And a very simple definition of this would be, transactions mean that anything that you do on a blockchain network is a transaction. Does not mean that I am sending you one ether or one bitcoin will only be a transaction. For example, in our case, we give loans to farmers on blockchain. Farmers don't know that they are using such a complicated form of technology, and maybe even before that anyone else, many of you others have in the country have used blockchain technology, but they do. Do you also know that our farmers in the last 3 years, have NFTs with themselves on their phone? Again, I did not have NFTs back then, right? When my farmers started started having NFTs. And that is why you should always remember, NFTs do not only mean art or photographs or music formed into NFTs. NFTs can be anything. NFTs can represent any asset, and there are multiple use cases that you can build against NFTs. Again, coming back to blockchain. So what we have been doing is we have been using blockchain, right? But the point is that these blocks and transactions are constant across all kinds of blockchain. Blockchain technology means anything that happens on the particular blockchain would be a transaction. It can be a transfer of one bitcoin from me to you, or it can be another kind of an action, like I'm calling a smart contract, which is essentially a piece of code that you run on blockchain, which has given all these use cases to the world. No use case basically exists without using smart contracts, right? So Ethereum brought that into the world of blockchain, which also marked the second generation of blockchain. Before that, there was only Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was majorly used as a currency only and not a blockchain to write and deploy code. But Ethereum changed that completely and brought in a new generation of blockchain. All right, going back again. So, like for example, any use case, if I'm calling a particular function on the blockchain technology, that is a transaction. It goes here. You'll be able to see that it goes there as a transaction, right? So it does not mean that a transaction here, all these transactions mean only money has been transferred, right? Okay, and blocks, all these transactions coupled together are blocks. And how are blocks formed? It is a bit out of scope of this particular lecture, which is barely of 45 minutes. Maybe do some research at your end, or reach out to me, and you'll find some materials as well as on my Twitter and everywhere else. And you can go through mining, consensus mechanisms, very important topics for you to know. At the end, very soon in the next 10 minutes, I'll share you just 2 slides which you can take screenshots, and you can use that as a roadmap for yourself. All right. So blocks are formed with a lot of transactions, and these are formed after an entire group of miners mine that particular block. They follow a protocol. Mining, you must have again heard of, because a lot of people mine cryptocurrencies, like many cryptocurrencies, they mine Ethereum or altcoins and so on. So when this mining happens, the block gets formed. So that is a block that you're seeing here. I'll click on one of these blocks, and you can see here that this was done 4 minutes ago while we were talking about blockchain. This is the current block number. This started back in 2015 because this is the Ethereum blockchain. Now you can see that there are total 84 transactions in this particular block, right? So all these transactions are, if you go in, if I go to transactions, you can see that few of the transactions are transfer transactions. You can see here the method is transfer. Everything is out in the open. Every transaction, every person doing the transaction in any part of the world will come here on the Etherscan. You can also see that there are something else as well, which is written here other than transfer, such as set approval for all, swap exact tokens for ETH, right? Flush forwarder tokens, pay fee, atomic match. Do you think these are just transfers? No, because whichever was a transfer, it was noted by transfer only. This means that, okay, a particular amount of Ethereum, say 0.004 Ether, was transferred from one wallet to another wallet, from this wallet on the left to this wallet on the right. But this block also contains such transactions which have nothing to do with just token transfers. They do have a value associated with them, but they have nothing to do with just token transfers. They can be simple smart contract calls or function calls, and that is why such names, and every name comes here. That what kind of a transaction is it, right? So this is what I wanted to show you. Now, if I go inside, so we've taken a look at block. If you want, I'll go just a bit back. This is what a block looks like. Everything, who mined the block, what was the reward that he got for this particular block, what is the difficulty in creating of this block, and there is a numeric number to that. You can learn more about it later. What is the size, what is the transaction fee, which is called gas in Ethereum, and then if you come, what is the hash of the block, which is the most important part in a block. So you must have heard that you cannot change anything in blockchain. Do you know why? Or you cannot just go back 3-4 blocks back and change a transaction, like make 1 Bitcoin to 1.5 Bitcoin. You cannot do that. You cannot just right click and edit something once it has gone on blockchain. Do you know why? Because hash is linked. If you are from computer science background, you would know linked list. So this can be said that is a much larger and much more important version of that. Just like link in the case of linked list, all the lists or all the blocks are linked. Here, in blockchain, every block is linked to the previous block, because every previous block, in fact, not just the previous block, every previous block, because the hash component, which you can see here on the screen, I'll zoom in a bit. This hash component, while creating this hash, has a lot of data and details that you see on the screen right now, which are pertinent only to this block. But also there is an essence of the previous block's hash here in this particular hash. So while creating this hash, an essence of the previous block's hash was also present there, right? The previous block's hash was also used to create this final hash. And now you can see that how a loop would go on, because the previous block's hash, when it was being created, also used the further like n-2 blocks hash while its creation, and so on and so forth. So every current block's hash has an essence of all the blocks that have come. So I can tell you that if you're seeing at this hash, all the blocks like 142348880, all these millions of blocks that have happened, this particular hash that I showed you just now has an essence of all these millions of blocks in some form or other. So I cannot go back to the block that was made first in 2015. I cannot change anything, because that would render all the hashes, these millions of blocks and millions of hashes, it would render all of these incorrect, right? Because once I change the hash, all the other hashes would have to be changed as well. I tried giving you a good picture of what mining looks like, and not mining, but what hash looks like. And this hash is formed once you mine the block, right? So these are interrelated concepts, but it takes time. Sometimes I teach mining and consensus for over 2.5, 3 hours. So not sufficient for to be taught in 45 minutes, but this should give you an idea that, okay, why is it that blockchain is called immutable? Because of this. A hash is interlinked for every block, and you cannot just go back and change it and still be fine, right? There's no right click and edit in the case of a blockchain. Now, going to one of the transactions and quick check on time. We'll be done, guys. No worries. We'll be done in the next 10 minutes. And at the end, 5, 6, 7 minutes would be for the questions. And if any questions are not answered here, or if you're seeing this in a recording, then please post them in, just follow me on Twitter and just tag there. And I or anyone who's there in my team or anywhere, they would respond to your question, I believe. DMs are open as well, so please DM, you can do that. But pushing it publicly, posting a question publicly would help me answer it publicly, which would help 10 other people, right? Giving you a DM would just help you, right? Okay, so this is what a transaction looks like. Again, transaction hash. So transaction hash is formed of all the details in a transaction. then with what timestamp from to, what value was transferred, what price was spent, and everything. So all these details that you can see, every bit of the details, tip point, decimal point values, all details are out in the open. What other details can I see? So I've seen blogs. I've seen all the latest blogs that have happened. All the millions of blogs are available. I can actually go and I can even do this, right? Something like this. I hope it works. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You see this? I just typed zero and pressed enter. And in a minute, in a second, or a better second, I was able to see the zeroth block, which was the first block that was done by, by Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation back in 2015. You can see here the timestamp was July 30, 2015 at around 3:26 UTC. This transaction, this particular block was done, and the block reward was different at that time. What difficulty was there? What hash was used? Everything, nonce and everything, all these details from 7 years back is available at the tip of a finger, and all details, right? It does not mean that old data is deleted. You cannot delete. Just like blockchain is immutable, you cannot right click and edit, you cannot right click and delete in blockchain, right? So till the time blockchain would be persisting, this data would always be there, and including the data that is being found right now. Any transaction that I or you do it right now will be a part of the same blockchain, would be visible on the same block explorer as the very first, founding kind of a transaction, which you can see on the screen again. Just change 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to million, and you'll be able to see all those transactions. Similarly, if I would have visited Bitcoin's blockchain at this moment, I can just go back to 2009 and see the first transaction that Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he is or they are, when it was done, the first transaction, he received, or he or she received 50 Bitcoins as a reward, which currently has come down to 6.25 Bitcoins as a reward per block. All of these details, all of the story, the history, the entire storyline, everything you can see out in the public. That's the beauty of blockchain technology. All right. One more thing, last thing that I wanted to show you here, that we saw blocks, we saw transactions. What can we see next is that clicking on any of these addresses, if I click on this from address, you can see every detail about this address. The only thing that I know, if you remember that I said in a slide, I said that public, but how public, right? Public, anonymous, and how public. So this is how public. All transactions are out in the open. In fact, now what you're seeing is this particular address, which could have belonged to me, you, anyone. What balance do I have? This is like having your bank account out in the open. The only thing is that people are getting to see that some bank account has maybe $1 million. They do not know that it's your bank account. That's the only difference. And they cannot do anything about it as well. They can't access it, hack it, or something. That's it. So you can see, and actually we have opened an account by chance or by luck. We have opened an account which actually is a millionaire, because this particular account has $1.3 million, $1.13 million worth of ether or Ethereum value in their wallet. Pretty, a lot of money here in this particular wallet. And similarly, you can go to any other wallet. You can click here and you can see all the other tokens that this particular person has. This person has 4 tokens. Sometimes you'll see a list of tokens that a particular person or wallet would have, right? So the ether value is there. What total balance right now is there? Just 403 multiplied by the current ether value gives this $1.13 million valuation. How many transactions this particular address has done, what was the latest transaction which was done 1 minute ago, right? Also, it does not mean that this could be a company as well. So it does not mean that only it will be a person. You just don't know anything about this address unless someone tells you that, yes, this is my address. Now you know. So if I would have given a live demonstration with my wallet address in MetaMask or anywhere, and then if I would have used the same address for doing all my all the transactions that I do in my private life, then tomorrow it would not be anonymous anymore. It would still be public and not anonymous, because you or everyone watching this session or the recording would know that, okay, these transactions, this is Abhishek's address, and these transactions are done by Abhishek. That is why it is recommended that you use a new wallet for every kind of transaction that you want to do. If I want to take some ether from you, I will generate a new wallet. I'll maybe name it as a nickname. I would name the wallet by your name, and then I would give it to you so that you only send it to that address. And I still receive the ether in my same wallet. Is that you only have access to that public address. You go and search there, it would forever only show that one transaction that you did with me, because I am not using that address anywhere else. And why is that not a problem? Because addresses get created based on mathematics. There is an algorithm where there are certain coordinates that give you a public key, which gives you a public address. So this is math. You can do it without an internet, you can do it locally, and you can do it for free. Math does not cost money, right? Mathematics does not cost money. So it is math and you do not pay for it. So you can create 100 different addresses. Just name them appropriately so that you don't get confused. That's the only cost you'll pay if you get confused about which is what, right? So that's how easy it is to maintain anonymity in a blockchain environment. right? So you can see that all the transactions, and go further. All these blue ones are links. You can go further and further and check any other addresses. Just visit this link, and there is so much to show, guys. That that it is really amazing. I'll just stop the screen share because it's creating an echo here. Okay, I'll go back to the presentation. All right, perfect. So yeah, so this is where we were. Quickly, last 10 minutes and then questions, guys, for 5 minutes it would be. So a quick taste of blockchain we've taken, and believe me, this taste was just hardly a serving. So I would really request you that you visit etherscan.io. Even if you're seeing it in the recording, you find this link, right? So visit it, find it, and spend some good time. When I started back in 2016, I think 15 16, I spent a lot of time on the Ethereum Explorer, on the Bitcoin Explorer, on a couple of other explorers as well. Polygon and on were not there at that time, but yeah, these two very popular explorers, I spent a lot of time by just visualizing that, hey, what's happening? There are so many things that are happening here and there, right? So that's something we wanted to I really wanted to cover. Okay. Got it. And I think the admin has already posted the link, so you get it from the chat as well, right? Okay, perfect. All right. So going ahead, quickly on what could be the career pathways that you can take, what to learn exactly, and I'll give you a ready-made list of what items you can just take a screenshot. Then, even though you will get this presentation, either VIT or Geeks will provide it to you, or in an email or something, or I'll just upload it all my content across all. I've taken more than 250 hours worth of lectures, and believe me, all content over all those 250 hours is completely out in the open. It's free for use out in the open, and you'll get it on my Twitter or on my Notion or somewhere else. So just follow and just ask for it, and you'll get it. It's just a link I'll give you. So either way, just make sure that you get access, because at the end I also share multiple links of resources, of hands-on tutorials, of long YouTube videos which do not belong to me, but I have seen them to be really, really good, and I believe that and they are good people, also good blockchain people. So I believe that you should also start. You can also try those courses out, and those videos. There are small videos. You can try them out. I have also added two case study links, which is like, one is the Nestle case study, another one is a Harvard Business Review case study of Maersk, which is a big shipping organization in the world. So all these case study links are there. So make sure you somehow either reach out to me, reach out to VIT or somewhere, and you get access to this PPT after the session for sure. Even if you're watching it on recording, just ask me, right? And if you just want to do it, I'm on Twitter at twitter.com/abhib3012. That's it, twitter.com/abhib3012. Mohajit, requesting you if you could just share this link on the chat as well. That'll be very, very useful, right? So twitter.com/abhib3012. That's it. Okay, so coming here, that what all to learn, right? And what else, what can you do essentially, right? What is it that you can plan? And you might not be good with development. So does the blockchain world segment domain close for you? No, you have a lot of options. As a developer, you may want to start with being a core blockchain developer, which is about learning how to set up nodes, learning how does even Solidity work, basics of Solidity, getting understanding of how networks and nodes and peers are added, transactions can happen. You can create wallets on a particular network. You can add a peer, remove a peer, all those things. Maybe starting with Ethereum, Ethereum on your local computer, and then maybe something permission blockchain like Quorum, right, which was built by JP Morgan, and so on. So this becomes a good use case to follow. And within 5-6 months, you'll be an employable blockchain developer. Even maybe before that, depends on your speed to pick up. You can become a smart contract specialist, but you have to spend some considerable time there, because smart contracts are very important pieces of code. Because I told you before, you must be now remembering that anything that goes on the blockchain cannot be edited. That stands for smart contract code as well. You deploy a smart contract code. It is not like your web server, where if you see that, oh, this button is not coming properly, let me quickly go back to code, change the button color or the button sizing and everything, save it, just deploy it again, and I'm able to see it live on my live website. It does not happen that way, and does not happen for free. You have to redeploy us. Even if you make a small change of a space or a small character or a variable or anything like that, you make a change in your smart contract, you have to go through the entire process of redeploying the smart contract, linking them with your decentralized app in the front end, so that your front end can now interact with the new smart contract rather than the old smart contract. Now you're redeploying the smart contract. It will cost you money. the most important difference here between what you've been developing and coding and working on and this blockchain technology is that everything in blockchain costs you money for the better, right? For the better. This is a specific use case. You would say that then I'll go back to my legacy technologies, but then legacy technologies are not giving you what blockchain gives, right? Which we've been covering today. It's a very abstract form of technology, a very very futuristic kind of a technology and very secure. At this moment, I don't think I have seen any more technology that's more secure than how blockchain is built. It's about how mining works, how consensus mechanisms like proof of work, which is used by Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others, right? And then proof of stake and proof of elapsed time and all of these things. There are so many consensus mechanisms. The way these things work give security to blockchain as a whole. And if nothing in this, you're good with maybe DevOps, you can become a network or a DevOps person. Every blockchain organization would need a DevOps person. This is something that you just learn a bit of blockchain, learn a bit of networks and everything, and become a DevOps guy. Alternatively, what you can do is you can become a product manager, a project manager, just like every other company needs some experience with blockchain based products like DeFi products and decentralized apps, then working with wallets on Ethereum and everywhere else helps you. And then you can be, and then any previous product management experience, I can bet you can get a job within 20 days of learning this, right? So that's something you can look forward to. You can, on the right side I show, you can become a designer, an analyst, or an options or an operations guy, because every blockchain organization is still an organization. They are no different. We always usually have, so currently we have open profiles across a UI UX developer, a designer and developer. We have open profiles across junior and senior blockchain developers, so smart contract guys, so smart contract developers. Then we have open positions also across non-blockchain, non-tech roles such as operations. One is across HR, right? One is across HR just has to know about how blockchain products work, so that she can speak with, or she or he can speak with the particular person while interviewing and all. Then there are other profiles such as a content writer, a community manager. So all of these people do not need to know blockchain development and coding, even though they can choose to do so, which will be an added benefit, but they don't need to. They need to know blockchain, how blockchain ecosystems work. That's it, right? And an example of how much you can earn in blockchain technology, first of all, these salaries are outrageously high at this moment, so they should drive you. So this becomes a problem for me when I'm hiring people, but when I'm teaching, this becomes something that I would love to share with my students, because this is how I bring you to blockchain. Because I have been facing a lot of problems in hiring blockchain engineers because of the humongous CTC that they have started demanding, and also maybe some lack of experience at some ends as well. But yeah, if you have good experience, you can get a lot of amount. One time smart contracting cost is about 40,000 USD. Yeah, of course, done by a company and a team. But just imagine that if one time needs this kind of an amount, just imagine what developers working on such products would be able to get for themselves as a salary. All right. Last 2 minutes, maybe. Okay, we are perfectly on time. Last 2 minutes. Take a screenshot of the slide and the next one. I've given you a laundry list of items that you can just follow. We have started decentralization, so that I've covered for you. You've gotten a basic idea, more than sufficient. I've given an idea of types of blockchain, done. So a few pointers we have covered in these mere 30-35 minutes itself. Generations of blockchain, take an idea, but I've given you an idea how Ethereum 2.0 brought, sorry, not 2.0, how Ethereum brought blockchain's second generation by bringing in smart contracts. Then mining and consensus, not sufficient to be covered now, but please take a look. Do not miss this. This is one of the most important topics in blockchain that you would read or study about. Blockchain does not exist without mining or consensus mechanisms. Then go into development in such as Solidity language or any other language. If you want to target a different blockchain like Solana, you would study Rust, the Rust programming language. But if you're targeting any Ethereum or EVM based blockchain, which is the Ethereum virtual machine based blockchain, like Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, all of these are EVM based blockchains, and many others are there. So then learning Solidity benefits you a lot, because you just learn once, you write once a smart contract, and that is deployable across all other blockchains as well. So that's for us as well. We have been on Quorum blockchain for the last 3 years. Now we are going into, also we are bridging it with public blockchains like Ethereum, Polygon, and Binance Smart Chain. We don't have to rewrite the contracts because they're EVM based blockchains. Take a look at certain use cases: fintech, healthcare, DeFi. For DeFi, there are multiple use cases. Here, I have also included shipping, or you can say supply chain. Right? I have added supply chain right after this particular these slides, I have added a resource for Nestle and Myers, so they would be covering your shipping and supply chain use cases. For fintech, you can take our own use case, and that is a good use case that has been covered, that has actually been made by IIM Ahmedabad. So you can just write search on Google IIM Ahmedabad blockchain and world and things like that. So this will give you an use case of when IIM Ahmedabad covered us, right, how we are using blockchain in fintech and in agri-fintech and agriculture for helping farmers of the country. That's another use case. For healthcare, a good use case is of the COVID vaccine trials that have happened. Some companies in UK did that. My next book that is coming up with Springer, it is completely on healthcare, blockchain in healthcare. Right, it has some use cases, but it is still some time to come in the next quarter maybe. So yeah, but on the internet you'll be able to find many use cases which are having healthcare, right, blockchain in healthcare. um, Take a look at cybersecurity aspects. You may find some lectures of mine as well, or just ask for me on Twitter and give you direct links to it. I have taught cybersecurity. It's a long lecture, but good lecture, right? So these things are important to know, that what kind of effects blockchain has on CIA triad, and what tools, what smart contracts, because security is optimal. Just about 10-15 days back, a bridge was hacked between Ethereum and Solana, and that way Solana lost $320 million. $320 million. It's not a small amount, and its token price was also in free fall. This is also a reason why you see that smart contract auditing costs such high numbers, because you have to be sure that your smart contracts are secure. Otherwise, hackers would steal away millions, right? In 2016 or 17, there was a hack which many of you may have heard, the Dow. Here, the hack was $50 million, right? It was 1/3 of Ethereum's entire ICO fundraise. So very important. So just take a screenshot of this, right, and go through all of these things. Reach out for help, and happy to help, right? Then another point is these are few of the hands-on, right? These are the hands-on things that you should do. I cover these in many of my lectures, but these need time, right? These need 3 4 5 hours even for you to do sometimes. Get yourself a wallet. Some of you may be having a MetaMask or a MyEther wallet. Some of you may be having an account on exchange, so like a WazirX or a Binance or a Polygon or a Poloniex kind of wallet. Those are centralized wallets. MetaMask and MyEther wallet are decentralized wallets. Make sure you know the difference between the two, or ask someone, or read more about it, or see some YouTube videos, or just ask me somewhere else at any point in time. But get that clarity in your mind. You cannot do everything with the centralized wallet what you can do with a wallet like MetaMask, right? Try creating and deploying your own cryptocurrency, maybe by with your name. Use simple tools such as, which I'm going to show you. Use simple tools such as Remix IDE to load an ERC20 contract, and then deploy that contract using again Remix on maybe on Ethereum or Polygon, for example, and have your cryptocurrency or ERC20 show up in the wallet. Good use case, right? It will give you a lot of learning. Go through Solidity as a language, and then make sure that you do this hands-on. Generate some NFTs, for example, on websites like OpenSea. Very easy. And if you're now using Polygon, then OpenSea does not even charge you a single penny. They just cover it. In Ethereum, it sometimes charges you a lot because the gas prices are very high. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and feel free to use Polygon on OpenSea and do it for free right after this class maybe, and then maybe take a screenshot, or take a copy of the hash which is there on the Polygon Etherscan Polygon scan link, which is like similar to what we saw today in Etherscan, and maybe paste it and tweet me that yes, this is something I've been able to do. That would be amazing. And if you can do it soon, the learning is humongous, right? I always advise many of my students to do so. Until and unless you are hands-on, it is very difficult to learn blockchain. It is very difficult to learn anything, especially blockchain, right? And these are free stuff you can do now. Earlier, it was not possible, but now the platforms have evolved a lot, and they allow you to do a lot of things which earlier you may not have been able to do. And then get your hands dirty with some DeFi dApps. For example, Aave is there. They are on testing, right? Then Compound Finance is there. I've left the links on the resources as well. So staging.aave.com and so on. They are there on testnets. Create a wallet on MetaMask. Maybe use MetaMask for this. It will be multi-purpose. Create a wallet on MetaMask. Connect it with a DeFi app. First of all, take some Ether from a faucet. Connect it with one of the DeFi apps and do bankless lending and bankless borrowing there. Yes, these things may not be making a lot of sense at this moment, because many of you may have just learned blockchain or crypto and NFTs for these 45 minutes. But once you spend 145 minutes, 345 minutes on these things on blockchain, believe me, everything will be crystal clear. Otherwise, people like us are always there, happy to help you. Right? There are many people. You can just tweet them, tag them, DM them. Many of their DMs are also open. My DMs are also open, and there's so much data out there also in the open. Back in 2016-17, this was not possible. Not a very less amount of data was available. Content, tutorials. Nowadays, YouTube videos, Medium articles, they are in plenty, right? These are few of the tools. You can take a screenshot, and later on, once you start learning them, it will at least be make more sense to you. Just having these things in mind, that what is it that you have to do, right? Okay, done. I'm done. So I'm done here, and I think a bit late, but yeah, we can take a couple of questions maybe. Just before we go there, these resources and references, take a look. Make sure you get access to these. Either you take these links from a Twitter from me, or you take these from VIT and get an access to the presentation. These are few of the links. Huge 16-hour resource by someone called Patrick Collins. Great guy. You can see that. Then what is a smart contract? Practice hashing using this link. This is also another good person, Anders Brownworth. He has good knowledge about these things, and so on. Some other recordings, like how to do certain things with your hands. These are all hands-on, step-by-step recordings. Not long, but yeah, not without a voiceover, but maybe works well with a lot of people, right? And then these are the two case studies which I wanted to share with you. This is a Harvard Business Review case study. It's a very good case study. Once one read of these things, or take out our IIM Ahmedabad case study, one read of any of these case studies will clarify a lot of things in blockchain for you, right? All right, so I'm done. Thank you, guys. I'll be leaving this feedback link in the chat. Even if you're seeing it in a recording, maybe later on, it would be a great thing if you can just visit this. It just takes 10 seconds actually, and it's completely anonymous. You don't have to even enter your name or email address. Just 5 is the highest, by the way. So if you're rating 5, cool. If you're rating anything else below, please leave a comment. Again, takes 10 seconds hardly, and I'll leave this in the chat. And Mojit, I'm free to take any questions. Take a screenshot of this in case you want to reach out. And but yeah, feel free to reach out on Twitter. That's good. And happy learning blockchain, guys. Come on, this is the time. You don't want to miss out on this. Yes. If we have any questions.
Yes, sir. So we have two questions here.
Sure.
First question is, according to the new budget, crypto assets will be taxable, but the finance minister stated that just because it is taxable, it doesn't mean it is legal yet. Isn't this a bit discouraging to the public?
I can tell you something here, right? So thanks for the question. I can tell you something here. Tell me something. Are you not in a better? See, this is very dicey, right? This is very dicey, and this is very cryptic language that has been used by the government, which is fine, because try to understand. The government does not have a clarity on what they need to do with crypto, with NFTs at this moment. This is a very new technology. Can you tell me something? Just after this class, go and try explaining NFTs and cryptocurrencies with your mother, father, maybe grandmother and grandfather. Is it possible? Is it really very feasible? Some have really learned it very well, but yeah, with everyone, is it very feasible? So yeah, it is difficult as a technology, and the repercussions or the consequences from the government's point of view is many folds. So the government, at least at this moment, does not know what to do with it, right? So they have taken an intermediary step, which is taxing it at 30%, right? Now, are we all people who are crypto or DeFi and blockchain enthusiasts? Are we not in a better position than maybe few months back before the budget, when we were always seeing an up and down in the cryptocurrency prices, because all we heard in news was that India about to ban crypto, India about to ban crypto, Russia about to ban crypto. This not the case? Are we not in a better position now, right? Are we not at least now in a it is not legal yet, but it is not illegal. People will not just pick you up and put you in a jail because you're holding crypto, which earlier could have been the case. Do you remember when RBI, they did a simple thing? They asked its banks, RBI asked its bank to not provide any kind of support, any kind of banking services to organizations using crypto. And so much repercussions it had. People did not understand. People thought it's a crypto ban. And do you know what happened? Many companies went down because of those issues. Many people were put into jail. Do you remember Unocoin, who set up a Bitcoin ATM in Bangalore, right? It was the first Bitcoin ATM in India. The founder was put in jail. These things happen. Now, at least that will not happen, right? So we are in a better position. It's not legal yet, but it's not going to be legal anytime soon, right? It's not discouraging. If you think, it is very encouraging for us, all of us right now. At least it's taking some shape, but it is going to take time. Russia in January was saying we will ban Bitcoin. In February, it said that now Bitcoin, we are recognizing Bitcoin as a legal tender. Became one of the second country, became the second country after El Salvador to do so. Right? I don't know at what full fledged or not they have done it on yet or not. How what kind of what they have done. But see, these things change, right? But it's encouraging. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, sir. That was a great explanation. The second question is that healthcare use cases might have some limitations since patient information is highly confidential and any leakage is subject to penalization. How do we ensure confidentiality?
Sure, that's a very good question. And as I said, my book is about to come out with Springer on just this topic. So electronic health records on blockchain, then patient doctor, transactions. We will call these transactions, right? Because everything you remember, I told you, anything on blockchain is a transaction. So what you can do is basically you won't be putting it on a public blockchain like Ethereum, right, or Polygon. What you would be doing is you would be a part of an entire blockchain network, maybe where hospitals are nodes, and then you would have access because of the smart contracts written in a fashion that you as a patient would have access from a DApp, from a decentralized app, to open access for a particular doctor for a particular period of time. And because all of you, both of you are on blockchain, any transaction that you do, if the doctor tries to do anything with your information like leakage, it will be tracked on blockchain. Nothing escapes blockchain, right? That's why banks trust us to prevent frauds, because we don't leak, right? And the blockchain as a technology does not leak. So yeah, so these do not have repercussions. In fact, these have the consequences are that confidentially would be maintained because it's a permission network and not a public network, and the smart contracts would be written in a fashion that it does not hamper the confidentiality or anything about patients electronic health records, or anything as such. I hope that answered the question, Ansh.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Just the last question.
Sure.
We're curious about like how did you get interested into blockchain, and moreover, you own a company that's like the only one in the country. Then make you think twice before
Mhm.
landing into it.
Sure. So yeah, so it's only one in the complete thing would be it is the company is only one to run a blockchain fintech native platform in India, right? Blockchain companies are so many now. When I entered, but that was back in 2016, I think, right? I was in my final year of my own university at that time, and I got interested academically in blockchain, and then I also joined a company, and then I was leading I think 5 different projects of blockchain. And that brought me a lot of confidence. Ki, this is a great technology. I've never seen something like this ever before. I mean, I was in technology, right? Whatever, for a number of years I was there, and this was something totally different. People were not understanding it for sure, so that's why I started teaching as well. And now I have taught more than 250 hours worth of the similar lectures. So then I started teaching, I started publishing, and that's how I entered full-fledged into blockchain. I started speaking inside and outside, and then blockchain became a very intrinsic part of me. And since then, I love blockchain, I love crypto, I love DeFi, NFTs. I see the happiness in the farmers' faces when they get loans against the NFTs that we give them. Amazing use cases, guys. And now, at least nowadays, we are happier. Someone like me is happier because people are now getting into blockchain, right? Those saal pehle, this was not the case, right? So yeah, so that's how I got in, and I think you should get in. That's why, see, people in blockchain, guys, are mostly open. We don't hold back information, right? That's why I teach, that's why I publish, and that's why I ask you to follow my Twitter so that you get something that I share, right? And it's not only the interactions we have on these kinds of lectures, which might be between both of us 2 years from now, 1 year from now, right? And there are so many people doing great work in blockchain. They put everything out in the open because blockchain is all about decentralization. Every code in blockchain, I mean, almost every other Aave, I gave you an example, our own example, the code is out in the open in GitHub repos, which are open. These are not, we are not Microsoft, right? So we do not close data. So yeah, please take help of other people, but get into blockchain now, not in 2025, right? Not in 2024. Now is the time. Otherwise it will become like Java, right? So you'll get a lot of competition and all. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very insightful session, and we are really inspired by the step that you have taken towards the primary sector of a country. That's the basic
Agree.
one. So
Yeah.
that is like one of the most inspiring thing. So,
Thanks a lot.
if anything you want to say, the end of a session.
Yeah, that's it mostly because it has been amazing 50 odd minutes with you all. And I hope that many would be also listening to this later on as a recording. Please go through all the resources and reach out to either VIT or me directly to get the presentation, right? Presentation is a key to your resources, or just see on screen and search for them. Everything is out in the open, right? Just search on Google, right? And but get into blockchain and reach out for help, right? Reach out for help with people like us who can help you, right? And who are happy to help you. right? And yeah, if you reach the end of the session, then please, there's a link on the chat. Do visit that and give your 10-second feedback. That really helps. That really helps. I think I've reached around 1,600 reviews on that particular link. Yeah, more than any Amazon product maybe. Yeah, thanks a lot, Deepika. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, VIT and
Thank you,
Geeks for
sir.
inviting me.
Thank you, sir. It's really great meeting you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.